Hey everyone, welcome back. We're over here at the messy bench. Believe it or not, we just cleaned up last week, got everything all nice and organized, and we wheeled in more equipment last weekend and more cool toys to play with, which messed up the garage again. So we're in tight quarters here, but we have stuff falling over. We have the carburetor from Dad's Ford skid loader off the Wisconsin engine. And we're going to tear this apart so we can rebuild this today. Got the carburetor and my old go-to chem tool. We're going to disassemble it completely and put it in the dip overnight. Stick with us. I'll show you what we're going to get into. Updraft carburetor. Zenith brand, if it's focused on that enough. So we're just going to completely tear this thing down. Put all our jets and pieces and parts inside the old chem dip. Took out like part of a jet or an orifice down here in the bottom of the carburetor, and here's the adjusting needle probably for that we just took out. So I always like to count, that way I can at least put it back to where it was before I took it apart. So half, 1, 5.5, 6, 5.5 to 6. This is for the float, and that's pretty well solid in there. I'm not gonna try to take that out anymore because I don't want to damage it. Well, that pretty well does it. The butterfly arms are pretty, I don't know if you can see that or not with the resolution, but they're pretty sloppy. So the bushings could be replaced here on the choke butterfly. And I believe this, one of them's the choke and one of them's the main throttle. Not 100% sure because I didn't take it apart, but this one here, this one's pretty worn out right there around the shaft. You can see it. My fingers aren't in the way. So that has a replaceable bushing in there. That should be remachined. But we're just going to put it back together with a rebuild kit and see how this runs before we take the time to put a new bushing there. I mean, because it will leak air through there. I'd like to think it wouldn't be too hateful. We should be able to adjust it out with the mixture screws. The inside looks really clean. I mean, way cleaner than I thought it would be. Just a little bit of rust. I think somebody's been here before. It has a, well, they definitely been here before, but I think someone's been in here before recently. It has the rubber tipped float valve. But here's the real problem. Let's see if you can hear this. The float is full, so this float's damaged and we won't be able to use it. It's got fuel in it, which means it wouldn't meter the fuel correctly in the carburetor. So let's get this all these pieces and parts here. We'll dip the whole thing in the Berryman's. Put all our little pieces and parts in the basket. And I'll drop in the big pieces. Ka-dunk. We're gonna leave it cook in there overnight. We'll get it out tomorrow, blast it with carb cleaner, hit it with air, and put it in the rebuild kit. As I mentioned, the key here is gonna be this float. It's holding fuel in there because it has a pinhole somewhere in it or a leak. So this is no good. Hopefully just replacing this will do the trick, but we'll get her all cleaned up in the process. Here's something. I pulled this old relic out of the toolbox when I was looking for a baby screwdriver. Ended up using this one because I couldn't get a grip. You remember these things? You unscrew the end. There's a small one. Unscrew the end. Smaller one. Unscrew the very end. Teeny tiny one. I mean, I used to play with these things all the time when I was little. Isn't that a cool little memory? There was a hammer too at one point in time. Old memories, old tools. That's cool. We'll catch you next time once we have the rebuild kit and we get this carburetor back together. Have our brand new float. No fuel on that one. And then all our entire carburetor kit came from Mike's Carburetor Parts. Kit number K5015. It's made in USA. All right. So I'm sure this kit's universal. It's got probably a bunch more pieces. Looks like it might even have some bushings in there. Maybe. Next step is trying to figure out where all these pieces go, because to be honest with you, I don't know what those pieces are at all or where these little guys go. So we're just going to have to get the old carburetor out and start inspecting what we can and can't use here and what needs replaced. Important point I always mention, I always keep the old gasket. That way I know which one we need. So we'll compare that to this pile here. This one looks pretty promising. And you always want to make sure it has all of the same holes. This one here is the winner. Yummy. Pulled the main carburetor body out and the basket with all the small pieces and parts. You get in there and clean all that off, blow all that off. But since we do have a new, basically a valve seat for the float, we were struggling to get that out of there and I didn't want to damage it. The new kit comes with a replacement, so we're going to try to wrench that out of there. And then blow all the pieces off with carb cleaner. And hit it with the air hose and put it back together. If you didn't notice, we made a bad decision. We tried to take the seat out for the float, and it promptly just completely broke off. So now we need to try to get this thing out of there, which so far isn't looking overly promising. You are just not going to believe this. Blew my mind. I'm going to take you in there and show you. I didn't remove it all the way, but she started spinning, and with any luck, she's going to twist right out of there.
This is a left-handed drill bit, so you run it in reverse. Check it out. There's no meat in the thread area, but once I stuck that drill bit down into the end where it was thicker, she came right out. Yeah! I think we're able to avert disaster there, and the only thing that saved us, which I'm pretty excited and happy about this, these are some left-handed drill bits, so you have to spin them in reverse, and then if you're drilling into a solid piece of material, once it bites, it wants to create a rotation that will unthread something. That's my first chance using it. And you want to make sure you keep these separate from your traditional drill bits or you'll get all confused and start running them the wrong way. These saved the day. Awesome. All right, back to a regular plan here. We need to get this carburetor all put back together and yeah, hopefully we don't do anything else like that. Alright, we got the carburetor all back together. That whole process turned out to be way more adventurous than I wanted to be. We had dial calipers out, easy outs, left-handed drill bits, and that's not for fun either. That's just to try to get that float seat out. Should have left it in there in the first place. And then it was really difficult to get it to go back in. I even took it over to the lathe and dusted the threads a little bit because I thought they were too tall, but it fit really tight. So I don't ever want to take that thing back out of there again. We got her all ready to go. Dad's gonna have to make a gasket. We got one gasket, and then it has this extra governor on it, which you'll need to make a gasket for that. If you noticed or paid close enough attention, I replaced the gaskets, these little rubber jobby doos here, on this top butterfly. That seals up this shaft a whole lot better. That way you don't get air leaking around the carburetor. Down here, this one's a little loosey-goosey. The bushings could be rebuilt. I don't have new bushings in this kit. All I have are some felt pieces. These little felt pieces here, which I believe are to try to help seal it. But down here, you have a whole lot less risk of having problems because the air cannot leak around the carburetor. It has to go through the carburetor still. Up here, it'd give you a whole lot more grief if you were to suck air in here, bypassing the carburetor. Anyways, let's get this back to Dad and get that old Ford skid loader up and moving again.
Oh, you go ahead.
It's not that heavy.
If it falls on somebody, it's heavy.
Yeah.
All right. Clear.
Where?
Yeah. Whoa. You're hitting the trailer. All right, hold it. Let her down. Slowly. Slowly down.
You can hold it over.
Wheelie. Needs a bucket on the front. You back it up.
There's a plenty of video. This unit gets more things.
Oh.
Success.
Wow. Look at those tires on this old skid loader. These tires are nicer than the ones on my skid loader. I need to get a set of those. Well, the old Ford skid loader, it's tuned up. Carburetors cleaned, rebuilt. One of the lift arm cylinders rebuilt, and one of the tilt arm cylinders rebuilt. She moves, she operates. She's a little squirrely, like a bucking bronco, but I think if you use enough skill and practice on this, you get the hang of it, and maybe, just maybe, you can operate this thing. I'd probably put a cage on it. Dad's going to be selling this unit locally. If you have any interest in this old Ford skid loader, send me an email with the subject line, Old Ford Skid Loader, and I will forward your information along to him. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, leave your questions and comments in that section below, and don't forget to punch the subscribe button your way up. Thanks for watching, everyone. Wow, Are you guys seeing this? Look at this. The cabinets are on the wall. I've been fixing to do that for a very long time. Just now got to it. The pegboard that my sister purchased for me probably 3 to 4 years ago, made by Wall Control, and it's made in the USA. Finally on the wall, organizing tools, and you can see the workbench. Dad stopped by this last weekend, encouraged / persuaded me to hang these cabinets up, and I couldn't be happier. This turned out great, and it was all because he wanted to help out. Thanks, Dad.